I want to talk about something which feels extremely important at this time. I'm talking about the transformation of the mind, and this is not something in which you will find a method. There's no method that can be applied to get towards or walk through the path of transforming the mind. I think it is very necessary to understand the process of building the right foundation, because if the right foundation is not there, I think it becomes extremely difficult to even understand what the person is speaking about. So it's very important that we first try to understand, build the right foundation within the mind, and then I think we can probably understand what this transformation is about. So just discussing the science that there is the neurons within the mind which helps you to think, and whenever there is new experience that you experience within the everyday life, it creates a new set of patterns within the brain, so that the whole network of neurons is more expanded, and that in turn actually create or widens the thought process. When we talk about the transformation, I think the cells within the brain itself go within a change, and when that change happens, there is a certain kind of energy that is released during that process. You can name it whatever you want, but at the end it remains energy. People have tried to talk about it, discuss, make it a method, but I think it is very important that you understand that this is not something which will make your life better. I think it can give you extra amount of energy, but it is not something which you have understood while you have gained that extra energy. And obviously this kind of thing can only be experienced. I can describe about it as much as possible, but it can be described up to a certain extent. After that, it has to be felt and experienced. It is not something that I can make you experience or feel. There are many gurus in the market who are trying to do that, but I think you should not be getting close to those people. They are there for fame and making money, and they do not know that what kind of things happen after you give something like that. First of all, the person is not ready, his foundation is not laid out properly, and when you give such energy to that person, it can be misused. So it is extremely important that you first become a good person. Do not go near that energy unless you have become a decent individual who is sensitive to other people. Now the question comes, why is this kind of transformation necessary? We are living in a technological world. This is like the most technological world that we are living in right now. And the kind of information that we are consuming, the rate at which we are consuming the information, the mind is not able to catch with it. It requires that we sit with small quantity of information for long enough to be integrated within the mind, as well as within our life, because if we are not using it, that means that knowledge is not useful. Most of it is forgotten, but that is how we are living it right now. We are consuming at a very high rate. And when we consume at such high rate and the mind is not able to process those information, it is often clouded with thoughts. Clouded with thoughts when we are talking to someone. Clouded with thoughts when we have to make a decision. And when that happens, when the mind is always occupied by my own thoughts, by my own life, I'm always thinking about myself or something from the past or the future, that means that we are not, there's no relation with any other person, or even like our nature, even trees and plants. There is no communication, no relationship, because we are always thinking about ourselves. The mind is occupied. To be able to understand other person or even feel the nature, it requires that the mind is extremely quiet, because person experiences these kind of things when he sees snow-covered mountains or extremely large banyan tree, that the thing is too large to see, to grasp, that the mind automatically becomes very quiet, and that experience is extraordinary, and the mind wants to experience it again, and that is something very different that we can talk about it later. But when you see such majestic snow-covered mountains, at the time the mind becomes extremely quiet, and then you feel have such a good feeling, such that your vastness is expanded at that moment. But if the mind is thinking about the past and the future, what it has to do or what it has done, and thinking about the things, what it has consumed through internet, through social media, then I think it is not possible for that mind to be sensitive enough to have that experience, to understand the nature, the vastness that it withholds. It is only when the mind is extremely silent, not made silent, but it automatically is silent, then only the sensitivity occurs. And that sensitivity is not just for the nature, it comes, it flows into our normal life also. We become sensitive towards other person. The other person doesn't have to tell you that he is going through something, or he is sad, he is worried about something. I think you can just, if you're sensitive enough, you are able to understand the other person through gestures, through emotions, through facial expressions, the way he stands, the way he sits. And that kind of observation can only happen when the mind is extremely quiet.